All right, before this episode kicks off, let me just get this thumbnail out of the way because we're talking about Italy today, and Italy is a strong team, baby. Woo! Before I talk about Italy, there was some big football stuff that happened yesterday or on Monday. I hate having to record these things the day before because whatever. Big news came out of football yesterday. I guess you could say I don't want to make it too big of a thing because at the end of the day, it shouldn't be big news. It should just be news. Carl Nassib, defensive end for the oh my god, I almost said Oakland. Las Vegas Raiders came out as gay, and good for him. You know, it's good to see more representation in sports. I'm sure this is not just going to have a huge impact for the NFL, but this is going to have a huge... Stop moving. It's going to have a huge impact for sports in general, showing that, you know, you can play the game. You can play sports and also be gay, which is good. I'm happy to see that he's growing the game in a league and a sport that I feel like needs help growing because I feel like less and less people are watching football or getting into football. It's good that he did that. I'm happy to see that he did that. More representation in the NFL. That's good to see. We have, there are the 40. Oh wait, no. I think she moved to Kansas. There is an openly gay coach who's also the first female coach to coach a game or be part of the Super Bowl, which is good. And she's also the first openly gay coach to be part of the Super Bowl, which we're seeing more representation in the NFL, and that's good. I like seeing that. I like seeing people get the opportunity to play. I like seeing more people because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're black, white, gay, straight, bi, whatever. There's a lot of fighting and a lot of hate going on, and I talked about it a lot last week when I had to talk about that stupid flag burning, and I know I didn't want to bring up again, but it just makes sense to plug that in. There's a lot of hate going on, especially now. That needs to stop. And at the end of the day, I'm not belittling what he did. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm happy that he did it and happy he's comfortable to do it. At the end of the day, he's still a human being. So, if you don't like it, just leave it alone. It's not your problem. It doesn't affect you in any way. Him coming out as gay. Doesn't affect anybody. It doesn't affect you in any way. Somebody coming out. I'm happy that he did it. I'm happy that he's comfortable enough to do it. Let's see how well that can help the sport of football. Let's see how well it can help the community too. But I like that he's comfortable enough. Anyways, what was I going to talk about now? So, as much as I talked about football now, and again, I didn't really plan on talking about football this week because what was there to talk about? There's no football. I don't care about I'm watching hockey. Actually, there's a big game last night with Tampa and the New York Islanders. Wow, New York got slapped 8-0. Now I want to get something straight. 8-0 is a weird score to me. Scoring 8 goals. 8's a weird number in sports. It looks good on the back of a jersey with most numbers. With the number 8 looks good on the back of a jersey, unless it's 38 or 48. Don't really like that number, to be honest. I don't know why. 38 stinks too. But the number 8 on the scoreboard in a hockey game, it's a weird look. And when you get shut out 8-0, it's a very bad look for you if you're an Islanders fan. Because, Maron, did they get slapped? There was no chance for them to come back. That is the kind of game I want to see the Islanders play. I feel like, going into Game 6, I hope they have another game like that. At the end of the day, I'm not cheering for the Islanders, so I hope to God they have more games like that in the future, because I don't want to see people talking about Lou Lamoriello, which I feel like I should bring that up. Yeah, I should bring that up. Speaking of the Islanders, let's talk about Lou Lamoriello. I don't want to talk about it because that means I have to bring to light people on Twitter and stuff, and I just ignore the tweets now. But let's talk about it and then just get it over with. So, with Lou Lamoriello going to the conference finals, a lot of people were talking about him. You know, when the Islanders made it to the conference finals, being Boston. I think I'm too close to the mic. And, you know, there was a lot of Leaf fans that were saying, oh, they should have kept Lou instead of Dubas, or, you know, hockey media in general saying that. I'm going to be upfront. They did the right thing by letting Lou go. And here's why. Okay? Do you remember the contracts Lou Lamoriello signed while in Toronto? A lot of people like to bring up the fact that, oh, Kyle Dubas, he signed Austin Matthews to an $11.534 million contract. Tavares is making $11 million. Mitch Marner's making $10.893, which is that's still a bad contract. Nylander's contract's bad and whatever. If you don't remember the contracts Lou Lamoriello signed while in Toronto, he didn't have to deal with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and John Tavares or Nylander. Do you want to know what would have happened if Lou Lamoriello was still in Toronto? Those guys wouldn't be on this team. They'd be gone. Or, better yet, they'd be on this team like we wanted them to be, right? Do you remember the contracts Lou Lamoriello signed while in Toronto? He had some of the worst signings ever. Ever. I don't care what anybody said. The contracts that he signed in Toronto were horrendous. The trades that were made while he was in Toronto. What are we doing? They gave up. Okay, let's start with the contracts first, okay? The contracts, they signed Nikita Zaitsev out of Russia. Rookie contract. What did they do after that? After one okay season? $4.5 million for 7 years. 7 years. $4.5 million for Nikita Zaitsev. And he's still making that money in Ottawa. Do you know what else was signed? Matt Martin was signed for $2.5 million for 4 years. That is a $10 million contract for Matt Martin. Do you know why Kyle Dubas traded him back to the New York Islanders? Because they wanted John Tavares here in Toronto. They didn't want trust me, I'm pretty sure they wanted to keep Matt Martin, but they couldn't because they signed a fourth liner to a $10 million contract. What about the Patty Marleau contract, Vincenzo? That's right. It was a shit deal too. $6.75 million for 3 years. And you want to talk about how Kyle Dubas isn't doing a good enough job as a GM signing contracts? I'm sorry. He didn't sign 3 horrendous contracts like Lou Lamoriello did. There might be less money on them, but look at the context. Patrick Marleau was almost 40 signing that deal. $6.75 million. But people want to talk about the first round draft pick that Kyle Dubas had to trade. Yeah, I wonder why. Patrick Marleau's making $6.75 million a season because of that contract. Because of Lou. Lou built a good team, I guess you could say. I don't think he built that team. Those pieces were already there. But let's not also forget they have a really good coach. And they are playing a really boring side of hockey. That's why they're winning. Not because of Lou Lamoriello. Lou Lamoriello is also in a cap situation over there. So I don't want to hear, oh, Lou this, Lou that. I don't give a shit. He's not as good as people say he is. And not that he stinks, but he's not as good as people say he is. So stop talking about the Leafs should have kept Lou Lamoriello over Kyle Dubas. If Lou Lamoriello was here, this team would have been dismantled. I don't care what anybody says. This team would have been done. Done for. Kaput. Finite. All right. I'm done talking about Lou Lamoriello. That's all you're getting. Anyways, Italy played again this week. When did I talk about it last? I think it was just, because they played Friday, but then they didn't play until Wednesday. Yeah. So, they played 2 games from the last time I recorded this podcast. And Maron, did they play games, huh? This team, a lot of people want to talk about, France, Germany, this and that. Forza Portugal. Italy won the first game 3-0. Great game against, who was it, Turkey? Switzerland 3-0. And then Wales 1-0. Nice little game. And guess what? My boy Chiesa got man of the match for that game. This Italy team's looking dangerous. This is a different looking team. And you know what it is? It's Mancini. This team doesn't really have superstars yet. This is a young and up-and-coming team with Italy. And it's probably going to be about the same for the World Cup next year. But this team looks good. They destroyed the group stage. They've gone over 1,000 minutes without conceding a goal. They've won 30 straight games since Mancini. I think it's been 30 straight games with Mancini. Of like wins. 30 games in a row that they've won. This is a good-looking team. It's a young, up-and-coming team with players that are good. But they've also got that veteran talent. This team was, be honest with you, going into this, I didn't see them not making it out of the group stage. I knew that they were going to make it out of the group stage. Italy usually does well in the Euros. I can't remember a time when they didn't make it past the group stages in the Euros. It's just that, how far can they go? Going into this, to be honest with you, I didn't expect them to go far. Because like I said, there's a lot of young guys on this team that you don't know how they're going to do. You don't know how these young guys are going to be playing. You don't know how they're going to meld together. But Mancini is, he's built a good team. Now I think that this team can go far. I think that this can be a top. I'm not going to say it because every time I say something about my team's winning, they lose. This team can do well. This team can go as far as they want to go, basically. They can control their own destiny. I don't care who they play. They control their own destiny. This is a great team this year, and I love watching them. Okay. I was going to say I hate the white jerseys, like the away jerseys. I'm starting to be a fan of them. I don't know why. I look at them and I'm like, it's not too bad. But this team can go as far as they want to, and I hope they go. I hope to God they go the furthest they can because I'm trying to go to Woodbridge and party. I'm trying to take this flag down. It would have been St. Clair, but for some reason, well, not for some reason. There's just no Italians left in St. Clair, so can't really go down there and party. But yeah, but it was a great. It was been a great group stage for them. They come out on top, shutting out every team. Wales comes in second with Gareth Bale, which I expected that. Honest to God, I sort of expected it to be like this. Turkey would have been weird, but Turkey was kind of weird, but I expected Wales and Italy to make it through. Switzerland, I thought if they do make it through, it was getting because of the wild card. I didn't expect them getting any higher than third, and then Turkey rounding out the group with fourth. We're just got to see what Switzerland does because it's weird with this wild card. There's only two teams that can get the wild card. It's the top two teams that get it. It's the top two teams that are in third place that get it. So we got to wait to see what Switzerland, who comes out for the wild card. I think the only other team that's going to come out for the wild card that can really challenge it is Portugal, but it also depends on the groups. Portugal has to, I think, at least tie the next game to get that wild card or to lock it up, but it's going to be a tough thing for It's going to be a tough, it's going to be tough for Portugal to get that, that group, the wild card. Speaking of Portugal, they had one of the worst games I think I've ever seen for a team that is thought for a team that's a defending world champ. They lost 4-2 against Germany, but let's be real. If it wasn't for the 2 own goals, Portugal would have tied that game. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. They still let in those 2 own goals, and they lost 4-2 to Germany. So yeah, that was a great game to watch as a non-Portuguese fan. Fun game to watch. I like watching German soccer. They're good at soccer. They're good at what they do. Das Auto, but whatever. Like I said with Portugal, with the wild card, I didn't see Portugal getting out of that group unless it's in the wild card. I didn't see them getting any higher than third in that group, and I said it. Nobody wanted to listen to me. We don't know yet, but so far Germany's got the tiebreaker for goals or for goal differential. So yeah, this episode or this podcast is starting to become a Euro Cup podcast because there's nothing really else that interests me other than the Euros right now. But once this is over, I'm not going to be talking about soccer again, most likely, until December of 2022 when it's the World Cup. So, yeah. Not really much else to talk about. Alec Manoa got a 5-game suspension for an intentional throw at Franco on the Orioles. So is Montoyo got a 5-game suspension. Love that for the Jays. Again, not really going to be talking about the Jays. Oh, excuse me. Wow. I probably won't be talking about the Jays unless they make the World Series this year. But yeah. I think that's gonna be it for this week. We will see each other next week after Italy plays their first, or when the group stage starts next week, because Italy has their next game on Saturday. Hopefully it turns out well. Hopefully get to go to Woodbridge and party. So yeah. Nope, not gonna be able to get a go. I'm not gonna be able to go to Woodbridge if whatever. That's all for this week. It's gonna be another short one, I think. Unless I can't really think of anything else to talk about. You know what? I want to talk about my boy Chiesa. Actually, I want to talk about the oh, you know what? Actually, no, it's not all for this week. So I saw a report. It was with Juve. They aren't going to be getting any. They're still going to get to play in Champions League, which means that they're not going to be relegated to the Serie B, which means FIFA is dumb. Because as much as I want to see my team play in the Champions League and try and win the Champions League, Juve better win the Champions League because they got so lucky with this whole thing with the Super League. But I kind of hope that, because they pissed me off so much with what they did with the Super League that I just said, screw it. I hope they kind of get banned from the Champions League this year. They didn't. But yeah. Ronaldo needs to get off my team. I don't care for Ronaldo anymore. He bores me. He screwed up Coca-Cola stock, which was a nice little cool little tidbit. But yeah, $4 billion lost in stocks from Coca-Cola because Ronaldo said drink water. But yeah, I think that's all gonna be. I think that's gonna be it for this week. I gotta go work out. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Bonavoda. You can follow the podcast at Leading the Pack Pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Bonavoda_. You can e-transfer me at I'm kidding. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. So yeah, that's gonna be all for this week. I will see y'all next week, when hopefully Italy makes it past the round of 16. Ciao.